Sean Johnson, he is a victim of a terrible, horrific helicopter accident. And not even letting the body get cold, his death, which was not his fault, mind you, has become a political talking point to say that black people are not qualified to do the things that white people are qualified to do. And this is all an agenda to push the narrative of reverse racism and the attack, the fake attack on white society.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
First, my brothers and my sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. I hope that you guys have already hit that like button. If you haven't, you have a chance to do so right now. We have much to discuss. This is going to be a pretty loaded broadcast. I'm just giving you guys the warning right now. So you guys might want to get a drink. You might want to get some popcorn, a snack. Make sure the food is out the oven because we're going to be in here tonight. Okay, we got a lot to cover. All right. So unfortunately, this situation has occurred about a week or so ago where there was a helicopter crash and the pilot turns out to be a black man. This black man was a Navy SEAL. This black man had hundreds of hours, close to 1,000 hours of flight time flying a helicopter. The helicopter crash, unfortunately, took his life and took the life of 5 other people. The helicopter crash was not his fault, as evidence came out to show that the helicopter was malfunctioning mid-air, was falling apart in the middle of the air, but yet that has been a talking point that has been pushed by Coulter. Coulter has pushed the talking point that the helicopter, it had crashed because he was black. And, you know, black people, they can't do things that white people can do. So she goes to Twitter, not even allowing the body to get cold, not grieving the family, not his family, not the family that unfortunately perished, children actually unfortunately perished in this horrific accident. That was not the fault of any of theirs, but she goes on the internet and she starts talking about how he is not qualified to do such a thing because he is black. She goes on the internet and starts pushing the propaganda that he is a DEI hire. And you got to ask yourself, why? Why do they keep desperately pushing the DEI hire propaganda? And we're going to really break down why. I'm going to give you guys the answer. 1 second. This is her quote. Let me just show it to you guys real fast. Her quote is loading. This. Okay. She says, I wonder why it took them so long to tell us who the pilot was. And as a matter of fact, it didn't take them long. They damn near immediately announced who the pilot was. Damn near immediately. They damn near immediately announced who the pilot was. A Navy SEAL vet who has tons of experience, who was overqualified for it. Now, what we have to do with this is we have to actually go back in history and look at why do they do stuff like this? Because DEI and the way they use it, in the context that they use it, DEI is a boost and a handout and a privilege to unqualified black people. And it is an attack on white society, the dominant society. And this is something that the dominant society has been known to do. So the dominant society has used things as a rallying cry to say that there is an attack on white society, and that attack on white society is done by black people. It is the fault of black people, the attack on white society. Knowing our history, we can go all the way back to 1915 and cite Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation was the first to do this. When Birth of a Nation came out and made their movie about the KKK fighting off evil black men and fighting off evil black men to protect the sanctuary of white society and the purity of white women, and how white women were being attacked by black men. And here comes this the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, coming to save the day against against black men for the benefit of white society. This is something that they have done. And they have always done this. They have always used the false, bigoted narrative that black people there is a threat to white society, and it is black people, whether that is black progress, whether that is some type of black handout, whether that is black violence. It is some threat, some detrimental threat to justice, morality, equality, merit, fairness, all of these things. And white people are suffering at the hands of black people. The KKK used to say the same thing. And we've seen this evolve. We've seen this turn from the KKK, and then it turned to, well, Black Lives Matter means white lives don't matter. Oh, well, now we have to talk about woke. Woke is an attack on black people. Attack on white people. Oh, CRT, critical race theory. Critical race theory is an attack on white people. Now you have DEI. DEI is an attack on white people. And they have always updated the little terms and their code words essentially for, this is our rallying cry that black people are too far ahead. Black people are moving too fast. There is too much for black people. And that is a threat to white people. This is something that they've done for the longest time. And anytime there is a single slight threat, they're out here making a fuss. Look at this. I want you to see. White lives matter. White lives matter. The second there is a slight little threat to their power, the second that there is a slight little question to them having absolute authority, as you can see, the one all the way on the left, okay, you'll see that one says, diversity is code word for white genocide. That's what they're saying. So they feel like anything that doesn't promote white superiority and white supremacy is white genocide. That's what they believe. And we're here to debunk a lot of these narratives, okay? That stuff is not true, and we have to understand the history of those things. Now, there was something that I want to play before we really kind of get into some of the other things. There was a video that I think perfectly illustrates this, because the whole narrative of DEI, of woke, of critical race theory, all of these things are code words for black. They don't want to say that. It's very easy to debunk them. They don't want to say it. It's very easy to. But the thing is that when you directly ask them what it is, they fumble all over the place. They mess up all over the place. I want to give you guys this clip, but before I play any of the clips, y'all know what we got to do. We got to play the copyright disclaimer. And before we play the copyright disclaimer, we're playing the copyright disclaimer, what I need from every single last one of you all, what I would appreciate, I need it, but I would appreciate it more that you guys hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate that, and that you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure, you know what I mean, just make sure that the subscribe button is pressed, and we're going to play this. Be right back. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay. So when you ask them quickly for the definition of these things, and I want you guys to remember this clip, the word, they always change certain things. They're code words for an attack on white supremacy, a threat, rather. It's a code word for a rallying cry and a threat to white superiority, white exclusion, white supremacy, all of these things. All right. So whether that is critical race theory, they use that term and they use that term and they use that term. But the thing is, because it's a code word, they can't really give it a definition publicly without exposing the fact that this is anti-black. This is what it means. When they change that and then they start using the word woke, that has to be a code word. And that's a code word, and you can't express what the code word is. Otherwise, it's not a code word. And nothing better illustrates that than this clip right here. This is Bethany, the white lady you see right here. Her name is Bethany Mandel. She's going to be asked a very, very simple question. I'm going to make a big screen for y'all, to be honest. Hold on. Let me do it like this. She's going to be asked a very simple question, and let's see her answer.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. Sorry, it's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Yeah, look, time.
I mean, it's one of those things that,
as you can see, she didn't want to give it away. Now she's making a whole book on different podcasts, doing different interviews. We need to get rid of woke. Woke is destroying our society. This woke agenda is destroying our society. And the thing is that they all know what woke really is. Nobody is dumb. Nobody is slow. Everybody knows what woke really is. But they can't define it because woke means anything that is a threat that could be perceived as a threat to white supremacy, which is black empowerment. That's what it is. That's really what woke really means. It's really white black empowerment. That's really what it means. But she can't say that. She can't say that. So when you ask directly, what is woke, they fumble all over the place. She wasn't prepared for that. Now I want to give you another clip. I want to show another clip and break this clip down. Now, before we break this clip down, I want to put into context that in this clip, this was a debate I saw. You guys know how much I love a good debate. In this clip, I saw something, and I want to give the brother in this debate the benefit of the doubt, the strong benefit of the doubt. Say he's a young brother. He's probably in college. I don't know if he's FBA or not, but I'm not sure. I didn't hear an accent, so I'm not sure. But I want to say this, and then I want to break it down because we know that these things are code words. We understand this, but we have to understand it to the degree where we can teach it. And when we go out into society, we can dismantle and dispel all of the lies and the narratives that are being spewed out by these races. So let's continue. We got a lot of people in here, a short amount of time. I appreciate every single last one of you guys. I hope that you guys have hit that like button. If you haven't, there's time right now. All right. Y'all heard Carmelo is out. Actually, I'm glad that you brought that up because we're going to also be discussing our brother Carmelo. We're going to be discussing our brother Carmelo tonight. So I'm actually glad that you brought that up. Shout out to you and shout out to our brother Carmelo. But we're going to be discussing that a little bit later. So y'all stay with us because we're going to be discussing an update to the situation with our brother Carmelo Anthony. Now, let me get to this.
Real quick, you said if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Are you going to do that?
Yeah, I mean that is correct. Yeah,
that's correct. Okay, so can we both agree?
What was the context of what I said though?
What was the context? I don't even want to get into DEI because your opinion on DEI.
Now, so he says, what is the context of what he said? Let me show you the context of what he said and why he said that. Okay, this is the context.
This United story and the DEI story hits so hard because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
That is so. That's the context. Let's go back to it.
It doesn't really help it in this case. So, if the context between what you brought up was that you believe that
because they were being hired because they were black.
Okay, so can we both agree that every single pilot, whether black, white, whoever, has to go through FAA
No.
certification?
No, actually,
We can't?
new lawsuit shows that black pilots and female pilots have the standards being relaxed.
No,
for them.
sir. Can we agree at the time of February 29th or 2023 when you said it at the time? No?
No, actually, I said it. That's why you don't know the context. Is that new lawsuits were showing that they were relaxing the standards for air traffic control and pilots in order to meet the standards.
The context of that was diversity, equity, and inclusion. What does that have to do with hiring?
Everything. DEI definitionally is that we will hire more of a race versus a different race. So, for example, United Airlines said that they want 50% of their new pilots to either be women or black.
Okay.
Currently, just so you understand, it's like 8%. So they want to go from 8% to 50%.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, they didn't say black. They said women. They didn't say black.
And every time DEI is implemented, every single time, the lowering of standards occurs.
Now, before he's going to bring up an example, and before he brings up this example, I think that we should actually look into the lawsuit that he's talking about, because it's not fair, right? It wouldn't be fair that they are qualified for such a position, for such a role, and they're studying and they're smart enough to pass it, but unfortunately their whiteness is a barrier to their success. I mean, what has America become? What has America become? Why does America treat white men so bad? We just don't understand this. Now, let's look at the actual situation that he's referring to. Shall we? Let's look at that real quick, okay? So, it says right here, this is the case that he's citing. It says, historically, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, has hired air traffic who's graduated from programs accredited by FAA's collegiate training initiatives and passed excuse me, sorry, got a small cough. Take a little sip of water. Aptitude test. Okay, so they passed an aptitude test. CTI graduates who passed the test were placed in, now listen to this, qualified applicant registry. Okay, so this is the process. We're going to kind of skim through it a little bit. So it says in 2013, Andrew Brigida, my bad, graduated from Arizona State University, a CTI institution, which recommended him to FAA. Okay, so he should have been on the list. Now watch this. Brigida passed the aptitude test and was placed on the qualified application registry. Now, he's a white man. Listen to this. In late 2013, however, the FAA changed its process for hiring air traffic controllers. Instead of hiring from the qualified applicant register, the FAA required all, not just white, but all applicants to apply through a nationwide vacancy announcement. So that means everybody had to go through the same thing. It wasn't just white people having to go through that. All applicants had to go through this. Under the new process, applicants first completed a, quote, biographical questionnaire. Okay, so that's kind of like a multi-choice, like if you were in this situation, would you choose to do this? Would you choose to do this? And why they did that is pretty much to just test the decision making, the critical thinking, the patience of the pilots, all right, and really the psyche of the pilots. And it says, and if the applicant passed, quote, passed the biographical questionnaire and otherwise qualified, then they took the cognitive portion of the aptitude test. So here is the big portion of this. This is saying, let me explain this to you guys before we continue, y'all. What this is saying is that the test was modified. Everybody had to go through the same test. The standards were not lower. It was just the testing that you needed to pass in order to become an air traffic control was modified, and everybody needed to try again through this new testing. The testing did not actually lower in its quality. There was really an additional phase to the testing. That is what this means. This is what it's saying. That's what it is. Let's continue because it's getting good. Okay. Now it continues to say, now if you pass, then you would take the cognitive portion. According to Brigida, in late January 2014, the FAA informed him that he would need to apply under the new hiring process if he still wished to be considered for an open air traffic control position. In February 2014, Brigida reapplied and took the biographical questionnaire. According to Brigida, the FAA notified him in February 14 that he had failed. He had failed the biographical questionnaire and was ineligible for hire. Okay. So all of this, the whole narrative that they're not letting white people in and they're disqualifying you just because you're white and he was qualified and it's just because of his white skin and his blonde hair that he didn't get it. No. Everybody had to. This is the lawsuit that Charlie Kirk is citing. I bought it to you guys. Everybody had to requalify. Everybody had to go through. If you still wanted the position, everybody, because he wasn't technically hired, he was just on the waiting list. But from everybody who was on the waiting list, everybody had to go back again and they had to take this test again because the FAA had changed its testing standards. He reapplied and he had failed. It was not because he was white. It's not like, oh, you're just so great and so perfect and so grand and we really need you and you're probably the best of the best. But my boss told me not to hire any more white people, so we just can't do it. Sorry, goodbye. That's not what happened. He failed the test. And you know how white people have a very, very bad issue when it comes to, accountability and everything like that. He blamed it on the fact that it was racial discrimination. He said the test that everybody had to take, that other people passed, that he didn't pass, was because of racial discrimination. Okay. And they say that we need to get over our victim mindset. These are the same people who will tell us that we need to get over our victim mindset. Torian, I see you, brother, and thank you very much. We did reach 19,000. I appreciate every single last one of y'all. So I bought to you guys the test. So when he's all like, there's a lawsuit that they lowered the standard. They did not lower the standard. No, they added an additional part to the qualification. Everybody has to take this part. It's not like black students and white students are getting different tests. That's not true. Male students and female students are getting different tests. That's not true. I just showed you guys. He failed, and because he's not eligible anymore, now he wants to sue. And he's been trying to do it for like a decade now and has not gotten anywhere. But let's get back to it, all right?
Every single time.
Lowering of standards?
Correct. So we both want excellence, right?
Okay.
If you and I said, hey, we want 50% of the new people going in the NBA are white.
Okay.
Would the NBA drop in its standard?
No. The National Basketball League?
No, if we said 50%, if we say
50% of the...
Now, first off, he's using this as an example, and because he cannot provide an example of where a company or organization tried to hire more black people and they lowered the standards to get in. This is the same narrative that they say when it comes to doctors. They say this when it comes to pilots. They say this when it comes to even politicians, even that the standards are being lowered for black people to come in. And this is not something new. They've said this for years when it came to DEI. Oh, the only reason black people in college is not DEI, I'm sorry. Affirmative action. They said this for years when it came to affirmative action. The only reason black people are in college is because of affirmative action. White people got to actually work to go to school. White people got to work to do everything. Black people just get handed all of these things. And let me remind you guys, this is really the same narrative that the Ku Klux Klan was pushing. That society has flipped on the white man and is now favoring black people at the expense of white people in justice and morality and merit. That's what they're pushing. That's the lie they tell. All right. So he's bringing up this situation because he doesn't have an example. He's not telling the truth. Now, he goes on to talk about basketball.
50% of the new people going in the NBA are white.
Okay.
Would the NBA drop in its standard?
No.
No.
The National Basketball
Yeah.
League,
No, if we said 50%, if we say
if 50% of the NBA dropped and it was only white.
No, I
you're
said.
saying would the standard go down?
I'm not hearing what I'm saying. If 50% of all new people going in the NBA were white, by decree, would the quality of play of the NBA decrease?
Would the quality of play in the NBA decrease?
Yeah.
No, if they're the same standard of basketball player.
Hold on, let's talk realistic.
Well, what are you saying realistically? You're asking me if
75% of the NBA is black. 75%.
So does that mean white players are less better, or does that mean
whites are not as good at basketball as blacks?
Okay.
I mean, we got some big.
Everybody, calm down.
Okay. Let me say, and I have to break this off to say, let's process how incredibly disrespectful what Charlie Kirk is saying is. Let's really process this. He's saying that if a black person is an airplane pilot, then the quality of standard has been lowered for a black person to become an airplane pilot. If a black person is a surgeon, then the quality to become a surgeon has been lowered. Then the testing to become a surgeon has been lowered. But they can play basketball. What he's saying, what Charlie Kirk is really saying is that, being an airplane pilot, a helicopter pilot, a doctor, a surgeon, a politician, these are for white people. Those are the positions for white people. And if we have non-white people there, that means the quality is down. But basketball and the NBA, those are for the blacks, because the blacks are good at basketball, and they're better than the whites. I'll give it. They're better than the whites at basketball. And we're better than the blacks at being doctors. We're better than the blacks at flying planes, and we're better than the blacks at really running society. And that's the way things should work. So we should have like the airplanes and the hospitals, and you guys can have the basketball court, and everybody lives happy. That is incredibly disrespectful. Some of the most genius doctors in this country, in the history of this country, have been foundational black Americans. Okay, the people who have innovated the medical field in this country. We were the original. We're gonna be honest. We were the original medical field in this country. We're the ones who started the paramedics. We're the ones who came up with the whole the concept of vaccines. We're the ones who did all this stuff. We are the ones who advanced and are continuing to advance the medical field in this country and really the world. Now, we can go on and on about all of the advancements when it comes to the medical field that black people are in. We can also go on and on about the advancements when it comes to airplane technology that black people have been in. Even though realistically, we have been excluded from these societies, we've been excluded from access. We've still been really the thought leaders in these things. So the implication of that is incredibly, and I wanted to pause because that doesn't get addressed later on in the conversation, but I wanted to pause to make sure that part right there was addressed. All right. Yeah. Somebody bringing up the Hidden Figures lady. I'm talking about our advancements in NASA and spacecraft. We've been the thought leaders in these things. All right. And this is why when you're having a debate, you have to know this. So when they bring stuff up like this, and I'm assuming the brother is young, and I'm saying he's probably meaning well. You can bring stuff up like this because you know the history. Another thing I think that the brother is messing up on, and it's unfortunate, but I think the brother is messing up on, is as you can see right here, he's addressing the crowd. The debate is not with the crowd. The debate is with you and Charlie. Okay, that's the debate, you and Charlie. The debate is not with you and the crowd. The crowd is going to heckle you. The crowd is going to say things to you. This is really Charlie's environment. You cannot let that throw you off your game. This is one of the things in the debate that people get messed up with, is because one person has the audience on their side, and the audience kind of amplifies and, you know, starts cheering and booing the other person, and then that throws the other person off. So one of the flaws that he's doing right now is now he's turning around, and instead of addressing Charlie and keeping the conversation focused on DEI, he's now turning to the crowd and addressing the crowd. If you guys are in this situation and somebody's heckling you, somebody's from behind or whatever, you are debating one person. And you could, if you would have stayed to, and I hope he watches this actually, if you would have stayed on just DEI requirements as far as FAA, which is why Charlie jumped off that as quick as possible. Now he's on to the NBA because he actually doesn't have any facts and any evidence. And actually, there's evidence to the contrary that there has been any lowering of standards to allow Black people or women to become pilots. And Charlie knows this. That's why he moved the conversation away. Now he's talking about the NBA. This is why if you're debating somebody, keep the conversation to where it was. If you're talking about airplane pilots, if you're talking about hospitals, doctors, surgeons, all of this stuff, keep it on that. The second, now he's moving it to the NBA. Now you're talking about the NBA. Now he's moving it there. Now you're allowing him to change the conversation because he can't stand 10 toes on what his original stance was. And now he's using the audience to back him up, and you're sitting up there turning around trying to address the audience. That's a flaw. So let's continue.
Now, we got some big exceptions. I mean, we're very proud of Larry Bird. Okay,
no, he's good. He's good.
We're very proud of Luka and Nikola. However, the point being, let's implement DEI in the NBA. Okay. If all of a sudden 50% of all the players have to be white, which means they have to say no to otherwise good Black players.
There was a time where this happened, right?
Well, no, I of course, and the league wasn't as good. That's the point.
No, you understand that there was a time where the exclusion of African American players was in the NBA, right?
No, for sure. I acknowledge that, and the league got better as Blacks were allowed in.
Did it get better, or did we just integrate ourselves in?
Well, hold on, no, but wait,
the players in the league averages around that time weren't worse. We just got better.
Hold on. Do you actually think that? Why is it that 75% of the NBA is Black?
Right now?
Yeah.
I mean, well, it was a certain point around 1965
why
where
is
a
it,
law
answer the
passed
question.
where we can actually...
Why is it that 75% of the NBA is Black?
Because we integrated into the league.
No, because the best players are allowed to play in the NBA.
Well, actually, the best players in the NBA are European-born. Well, they're not even African-American.
I mean, a couple of them are. As I said, we're very proud.
No, we're very integrated within sports, but what does that prove?
That proves that the NBA is not built on DEI. It's built on excellence.
No, the NBA isn't proof. So when you mention DEI, you're now saying that it's...
You obviously don't know what DEI is. DEI...
How I know what DEI is if you're not giving me a proper explanation
DEI
on what
is
it is.
racial quotas.
Racial quotas?
Yes.
No, it's not.
You've never heard of DEI before. So, do you know what a racial quota is? You have to have a certain amount of a certain race. That is what United Airlines did. Mm-hmm. We must get to 50% of our pilots to be Black or women. Therefore, if the NBA said 50% of our players have to be white, I guarantee you, we could try to get as many Serbs and Croats as possible. It's not going to make the NBA the best league. Instead, the NBA has a policy of which the NBA and the FAA and the United Airlines should have the same policy. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It matters how good you are at what you do. So excellence matters.
Wait. Okay. So what you're saying?
Okay. Now let's get to this. All right. Let's get to that part. The thing is that when Black people first started integrating into the NBA, the standard did not change. The amount of play. If you look at the games that were played back in the 1980s. Those are games that are played differently. The players generally in the 1980s played, even 70s, played differently than they did in the 1990s. And they played differently than they did in the 2000s, in the 2010s, and even today. The game has evolved. There's a reason why black people are predominantly, mostly in the NBA. It is not because of the fact that white people are excluded from that. And he's using this as a very poor example. And this is why you shouldn't have allowed him to take the conversation away from FAA and then put it to the NBA. All right. The reason why is because more black people are interested in the sport of basketball and even joining the NBA. Really, more black people are interested. More black people practice. More black people try. More black people go out and try out to become members of the NBA. That's the reason more black people try to do that than non-black people. So the standard is not lower or anything like that. It's not because white people can't meet the standard. As a matter of a fact, there's a lot of white basketball players that we don't really know of. They don't really play as good as the black basketball players. Never really have. But every team got to have at least a couple white kids, white men on the team. So if anything, if you really know basketball, you would understand that actually the white players on the actual NBA are actually of a lower quality in general. There is no white LeBron. There is no white Kobe Bryant. There's no white Michael Jordan. There's no white Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There's no white Stephen Curry. There's not that, okay? But the thing is that this is now the conversation when you allow it to pivot off of, or him to pivot and change the conversation from the pilots, which is what it originally was. Because the thing is that you have to take certain tests to become a pilot. For the NBA, they just gauge some of your skills. And they gauge it depending on, well, you might be a good shooter, you might be a good dunker, you might be good this, you might be good this. So we'll pick you up. The thing is that Charlie doesn't know the qualifications of the NBA. He doesn't. He doesn't know that. And you could have owned him by asking him, but like, okay, well, what are the qualifications of joining the NBA? Charlie doesn't know that. It would have completely defeated his point. He doesn't know. Because I just made a point that he clearly couldn't refute. But you should have the brother should have stuck to, or at least piggied back and then circled back to the pilots. Now watch where it goes here. It doesn't get any better, y'all.
Everybody's good? So what you're saying is the NBA
is a great example
no, it's a bad example. Because in the example that I gave you, I said when you say a black or female pilot might be less qualified because of DEI, what you're implying is that they didn't earn their spot.
Correct, they didn't, because that's what DEI does.
That's what you're implying?
Because you're there because of the quota, not because of excellence.
Does DEI give you the opportunity because of who you are, or does it open up access?
No, it gives it because of literally the color of your skin.
Charlie, you are quoted by saying that, guys, Charlie...
Everyone knows the quote because it's true. When you hire somebody...
What's true?
It's true because they are there not because of their merit, but because of a racial quota. Why is it that only 8% of pilots right now for United Airlines are black or female?
It's actually 3%.
Oh, that proves my point even more.
And no, it doesn't. It's... Guys, DEI is the reason why...
See, and this is... And I'm not trying to diss the young brother. But this is another problem. Now he's turning around, and this is, again, him addressing the crowd.
They're not in these positions.
The thing is that he's saying that there's a racial quota. If there was a racial quota, here's how you could have got him. If it was a racial quota, why is 50% of the airplane pilots and all that, why are they not black or female now? If they were just allowing anybody and everybody to come in to fill this racial quota and they get to underqualify, why have they not reached their quota now? Clearly, there are still qualifications. Even if they wanted to achieve a certain demographic of pilots, there would still necessarily need to be qualifications. Otherwise, they would have their quota right now. That defeats his whole argument. His whole argument is done. Now, I'm a much more experienced at debating people, so I'm not trying to shame this brother or anything like that. I'm absolutely not trying to do that. But it is unfortunate because this brother he's allowing the crowd to really get under his skin, and now he's turning to the crowd again, addressing the crowd.
But it's because they're listen.
Man, you are making no sense at all.
That's cool.
No, explain to me what
equity, and inclusion is the. Sorry, okay.
Explain to me what a racial quota is.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion is the reason as to why accesses are now open to certain races.
Hold on. Can a black person not become a pilot before DEI?
What are you saying? Was it equal opportunity or was it equal access?
But
was it equal opportunity? Was it equal access?
It's
Charlie?
equal. Both.
It's both.
Yes.
It's equal opportunity and it's equal. I could not go to college in 1964 with a free ride, free paid tuition, but you could, Charlie.
Hold on. First of all,
are y'all just forgetting that the last 50 years?
Oh, hold on.
See, this is now. He's getting frustrated. In debates, it happens. He's getting frustrated, but now he has Charlie right now. Charlie is on the ropes, and his frustration is making him, instead of following up, if you're a boxer and you got your opponent on the ropes, you don't turn around and address the crowd and address the heckling in the crowd. You need to go in on that point. Charlie is stuttering right now. He's on the ropes because that's a great point. Equal opportunity and equal access is not the same thing. And instead of homing in right there at that moment, he's turning around and unfortunately addressing the crowd. You're asking is he FBA? I don't know who he is. I don't know, to be honest.
This is
crazy.
That's
crazy.
How does that impact you? And wait, do you have a free ride right now?
Do I have a free ride right now?
Yeah.
I go to school.
Who pays your tuition?
Who pays my tuition?
Yeah.
I don't want to share that on.
You just said you had a free ride.
I don't want to.
Wait, hold on.
I said in 1964.
No.
And he didn't say he had a free ride. He didn't. He said he goes to school.
No. So it's 2025. Let's stay focused on today.
So in 2025, even with equal opportunity and open access,
it's not.
That's what diversity, equity, and inclusion is. It opened up access for people like me to get these opportunities.
But so someone has to pay for your college. Who's paying for it?
You're saying someone has to pay for my college?
Yeah. So taxpayers are paying for your
college. Deposit the money into the bank right now.
Well,
show me your bank account. It's taxes.
Look, here's the thing. All right. This is another problem. He's again addressing the crowd. He's again, listen, when you're debating, let's keep this in mind. This brother is probably, if he's a college student, he's probably about 19 or 20 years old. And this is probably his first time. It's a crowd of people surrounding him, heckling him, telling him he's wrong. He's trying to address the bigoted narrative that black people are underqualified and that DEI and black success is really an attack on black people. Somebody saying he's a tether vibe. No, there's FBA who, unfortunately, his age do believe in this. This is why we're having this conversation now, because college students, they're going to feel as if DEI is something that benefits black people. Okay. They're going to feel like that. Okay. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to say he is or isn't. I don't know. But the principle is, I don't want us to get lost in that because we're getting a little off. Well, let's stick to the argument right here. The argument that is being made is that DEI, the argument Charlie is making is that DEI means, and this is the argument that all of the alt-right and everything make, is that DEI is an attack on white people. DEI, woke, critical race theory, Black Lives Matter, all of these things, all of these terms are an attack on white people. And the second somebody challenges that, they know, just like with the other girl, with Bethany, they know they can't really say that. So they start moving the goalpost around. And this video perfectly illustrates how they start moving the goalpost around. Because Charlie goes to colleges. He used to do that. Ben Shapiro used to do that. Steven Crowder used to do that. They go to these colleges and they try to debate, quote unquote, people who are less informed on the spot as they are. And what that does is they go on YouTube and they make it saying, oh, I own them, da 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 da. No. All right. So this is the what we're on right now.
Wait,
Charlie Kirk,
this is a publicly funded
Charlie
institution.
Kirk.
But
the publicly funded institution, we are one of the it's top three. ISU, University of Illinois Champaign, and the University of Illinois Chicago. 3 schools, universities that are getting funded more than other universities in Chicago. So yes, we do get funded more. Yes, I'm well more access to get a free ride. But what if I went to Chicago State University?
Right.
Would I get a free ride then?
I wouldn't recommend anyone goes to Chicago State.
Why not?
I mean,
why not?
It's a terrible school.
Well, Charlie, are they funded?
I don't know the specifics.
You don't know the specifics?
It's not exactly a reputation of a great school.
I can tell you, Illinois State.
It is not a funding
Illinois
issue.
State gets 92% of funding in the state of Illinois for universities, for public universities. Chicago State gets basically none, virtually none.
Okay, great.
What you're saying is, it was opened up accesses. What I'm presenting to you is that the access that I was allowed.
Okay, so what do you mean by access? What
do I mean by access?
How do black people not have access to a better life in America? What's preventing them?
This is very important to understand this, because this is something that when I have my Twitter spaces, for instance, when Tariq has, when I have my TikTok lives, when Tariq has his Twitter spaces, this is a question that gets brought up all of the time. And this is the very tricky part. This is the whole reason really I wanted to play this, is because of this part of the debate going forward, is the trickiness they have. All right. Because and this is what Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said, and Dr. Neely Fuller. Rest in power to them. They said they're very sneaky with what they do. They take both sides of the argument. They're very manipulative, very shysty, very sneaky. What they're doing is they'll say like, oh, well, what opportunities do I have as a white man that you don't have as a black man? What they'll do is show me the law. I want to no. Let me see the law that says I can do something because I'm white and you can't do it because that don't exist no more. We had a whole civil rights movement. Everything is fair now. This is why you have to actually know the data and know statistics and know studies. Give you an example. In 2023, there was one in 2000. I think it was 2005. It was around the early 2000s, and then another one recently in 2023. There was a study done where a bunch of applicants who were black and white. This was a study. Some of them had black-sounding names: Tyrone, Jamal, Daquan, all of this stuff. Other ones, white-sounding names: Bob, Bill, you know what I'm saying? These are white. Tyler, these are whiter sounding names. What the study had concluded was that the jobs that had whiter sounding names, or the applicants that had whiter sounding names going into these positions and going into these jobs, they had a higher rate of getting called back, even though the qualifications were equal. This was in 2023, even though the qualifications were equal. Trevor, you know what I'm saying? Hunter, something like that. Even though Austin, even though the qualifications were all equal, the white sounding names got more callbacks and they got hired more often, even though the qualifications were the same, because there is a stigma against black names and blackness. Now, if you know that off the top of your head, the second somebody asks you, where's the law that I as white people can't do? Where's the law? These are the times, because they take it out of the laws. This is the tricky part about it. They take it out of the laws and they put it into society. So it's laws written in invisible ink. So when they say, well, I don't see a law, where's the law? The law doesn't say that. No, the law is in invisible ink, but it's still there and it's still applied. All right. Most of the people who get scholarships are, guess what race? Guess what race most of the people who get scholarships are? Most of the majority of the well-funded grants, guess who they go to? So when you look at these things, and it's not because they're more qualified and all these things, does you having a whiter sounding name make you more qualified than if you had a black sounding name? No, it doesn't. And if you try to make that argument, you wouldn't really last, because that's a racist argument. This is how you get to. You have to know these things off the top of your head going in. If you knew that going in, it would absolutely have destroyed Charlie. Charlie would have been obliterated, because then he can't cite a law. All right, because what they like to do is, oh, legally segregation is not, it doesn't exist. Okay, well, legally segregation doesn't exist. However, there has still been, since desegregation, still been several lawsuits against redlining, several lawsuits against black people being charged, and you can bring these things up, black people being charged higher interest rate despite the same qualifications as their white and non-black counterparts. If you bring these situations, you have to know all this stuff. If you bring these situations up, case closed. So in these situations, when you try to bring up modern situations, then you have to bring up individual incidents that back up that that narrative and that back up that fact. Then you have to bring up studies and statistics that back up that fact, because then what they'll try to do is they'll try to create this bridge and gap between discrimination, as if that was the past, and you have non-discrimination, and that's right now. We live in a post-racial society. There was another recent study. Now we just talked about the credit and everything like that. There's also been recent studies or a recent situation, if you guys didn't know, where a black family was trying to sell their home. This would have been a perfect example. If you would have known, he would have destroyed. Charlie would have rage quit if he bought this up. There was a black family trying to sell their home. What they tried to do, they tried to sell their home. They got an appraisal for their home. The appraisal came back lower than what they thought the house was actually worth. So what they decided to do was they took all of the pieces of evidence, like family pictures and any cultural artifacts, out of the house. They allowed their white neighbors to come in, put family pictures up there, and all of the, kind of make it more bland, so to speak. And then the same home, no qualifications, no changing of the environment, no changing of the actual quality of the house, no renovations, nothing. The home got reappraised for a higher rate. The same home got reappraised for a higher rate because they believed a white family owned that home. That would have completely destroyed their argument, because on paper, they're not going to say we are going to appraise a black family's home for less money. They're never going to say that. They're just going to do it. And we have to know the situations in which they do it, because then when you're in this room full of people, in this circle full of people, be all like, how are black people held back? That's not true. Y'all just lazy. Y'all just got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. When you bring that example up, he couldn't say anything. So, and the brother is young. The brother is in college. The brother is, I will give the fact that he was brave enough to even come out there and say anything. You know what I'm saying? I will give him that. But if you got to know it, and it's got to be off the top of your head, because the second he said that, case over, destroyed, he would have been done. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. You just got to know what you're talking about.
What's preventing black people from having a better life in America?
Yes. What's preventing them?
Police, the government.
Hold on. No.
Okay. Brother, no. Okay. When you say that, and you, police, all of this stuff, and you bringing these things up, no, that was an opportunity missed. Okay, you could have easily said systemic issues and then cited one, but you've allowed this situation to completely pivot off of DEI. Now y'all not even talking about discrimination anymore, and you brought up police.
Police. How many unarmed black men die? How many unarmed black men die from the hands of police every year? Nationally.
Are you serious?
How many?
Charlie Kirk, we're talking about something.
No, you just said police. How many unarmed black men die at the hands of police every year?
Did I say that?
Okay, Here's how you defeat that part of the argument. Here's how you defeat that. When they say that exact question, you say, well, first off, we do live in America and you have a legal right to be armed. Being armed doesn't make you guilty. And he would have to concede to that. Being armed does not automatically make you guilty. It doesn't. And it does not automatically warrant your death. It doesn't. All right. He would have to concede to that. Right. Then also follow up with, we're not just talking about the actual death of black people. We're talking about any form of abuse and brutality. Rodney King, as a perfect example, Rodney King survived. Rodney King was not beat to death. So because when they narrow it down to deaths of an unarmed black person, they get to narrow it down so much so they use a very small number to downplay police brutality. Be all like, no, we're not just talking about deaths and we're not just talking about unarmed people. That's how you beat that.
Is the reason
you
why
just said police.
Policing is an issue.
How you're right. We don't have enough police on the streets of black neighborhoods.
The police department is well more.
Now, I'm gonna ask the chat room a question. Shout out to everybody in here. I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Charlie Kirk is going to reference a specific city in America. I want to give you guys the opportunity to guess which city you think Charlie Kirk is going to bring up. Which city do you think Charlie is going to bring up? Which city? Just put it in the chat room. At every city in America, which city do you think Charlie Kirk is going to bring up? And we're going to see.
Funded that are normal.
What is the number one cause of black death in Chicago?
Chicago, of course. I mean, of course, y'all all knew it. Every single last one of y'all got it. All y'all got it. The number one cause of black death in Chicago. They always go back to Chicago. They always go back to Chicago.
Are you serious?
Other blacks killing blacks.
Are y'all saying other blacks?
Yes.
Other blacks?
Who's killing the blacks from Chicago? A bunch of kids from Highland Park?
Black, 22% Hispanic. That's very, very, very broad. Where are those locations at? Where are those locations at? You're saying East Garfield? You've never been to East Garfield in your life.
Yes, I went once and I'll never return.
You're from East Garfield? You've never been to East Garfield in your life.
Tell me very clearly.
So we're saying these broader locations is these smaller locations.
Who is killing the blacks in Chicago? Who is killing them?
Of 1,000 African Americans who you're.
First off, he said the number one cause of death in Chicago is black on black crime, and that's not the truth. And then number two, you can easily say, okay, well, what's the number one cause of the races? If you change the races, this thing is the same. It is absolutely the same. Who kills most white people? Are the white people?
Taking statistics from communities.
Who is killing? No, I want to have a conversation with you.
What did you expect, Charlie?
Who is killing them?
Who is killing African Americans?
Yes.
People are killing people.
No. What race is killing them?
Why are y'all trying to act like African Americans are just solely murdered? People are killing people.
No. What race is killing? Is it white people killing blacks or blacks killing blacks?
People are killing people, Charlie.
Okay, but hold on. What race is killing the other race?
What race is killing what race more? That does not matter.
It does matter because it's a black on black problem.
It's a
and blacks need to solve the problem of black on black violence.
Is it a black on black problem or is it a crime problem?
It's a black on black problem that is a crime problem. Because I'll tell you why. If it was a bunch of kids from Deerfield coming in with guns, it would be a white problem. But somehow, if it was a black on black problem, it's a crime problem. It's systemic injustice. It's the police.
No,
not
what
enough
you're
funding.
saying is, Charlie, you're forgetting that these locations that you're bringing up are secluded by these races. So these races might have a easier time with policing, and yeah, they're going to have nearly response time of 2 seconds.
Wait, it's the police's fault that so many.
That was such a missed opportunity, brother. That was a real. I'm sorry that you really could have had him when you said it's a crime problem, which it is. It's a crime problem. If you would have flipped it and been all like, okay, if it's a black problem and it's a black culture problem, then you also have to concede that white culture has that much of a problem and even a bigger problem. Because most arrests for violent crime per capita, because they love to use that term, most arrests for violent crime per capita are done by white people. So if you would have used that point, you would have won. I don't know how did brother miss that shot right there.
Blacks are killing other blacks?
Who just said that?
You did.
I said that?
Yes. No, but
Girl,
no,
please.
I want you to tell me, why is it that black Americans are 13% of the population yet they commit 55% of the murders?
Where can you show me that?
Again, it's FBI statistics. It's
FBI
well known.
statistics. Where can you show me that at?
Can
you give me
ask
substantial
ChatGPT,
evidence
ask
with
Grok.
fact?
Now, that's not true. That's not true at all. I'm going to actually show it to you guys because what they like to do is they like to cite this right here. This is the 2019 crime statistics. This is the 2019 crime statistics. And these are the statistics that they bring up where they discuss arrest. They do not discuss convictions. They do not discuss that. They just discuss arrest where they go around to different police stations and collect data. They aggregate data from those police stations about their arrests and the racial demographic of their arrests. And they find out that with the racial demographic of their arrests, that most of them, most of the people who actually do get arrested for it, and anybody can get arrested for it, are black people. And they use that as the talking point from 2019, and that's it. But you have to also, what would have been a great opportunity for you to say is be all like, oh, well, the FBI also said that there are white supremacists in law enforcement. So what are we going to do about that problem?
Why would I ask ChatGPT when ChatGPT has shown, proven, what?
Prove it. Again, anyone near you can show you the stats, right? It's right there. Look. Man.
Let's read it. 70% of offenders were African American. Wait, pull it back up. Boo, yeah. Charlie, for the sake of my...
Oh, brother. Okay, and that's the end of that. Here's what we're going to have to do. As a society, what we're going to have to do is for our youth, because I don't know where this kid is from. I don't know who this kid is. But for our youth, I see a lot of, and why I like to take this situation out, why I like to do this, okay? Why I like to do this. We don't know if he's FBA or not. We don't, okay? Just because he lost the debate, there's been FBAs who lost debate, okay? And it's unfortunate. We don't know that. I don't know. He might be. He might not be. But that's not really the point. The point is that the youth have a feeling of injustice, yet the youth are underprepared. Yet the youth don't know. The youth are not sharp enough to debate somebody like Charlie Kirk, who is not correct, but Charlie Kirk is an expert, just like Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder. They're an expert of dodging and changing the subject. And when they change the subject and you're trying to follow their lead in the debate, what happens after that is that you wind up slipping up. You wind up getting frustrated. You wind up getting kind of in your feelings, unfortunately. You wind up debating with the crowd. That's what happens, and it's unfortunate. So this is why we take moments like this, because I want for the youth who watch this channel, I want for the youth to watch this channel to be able to sharpen themselves and arm themselves, so when they go out there, they can understand, okay, well, this is how you retort to things. This is how you respond to things, because we're not going to become a sharper society if we're in an echo chamber. We're not going to become a sharper society if we know it's wrong, but we don't know how to articulate the fact that it's wrong. If I was out there, Charlie Kirk can't beat me on this. I can wake up out my sleep and beat Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, all of these people on these subjects. I can instantly, out of my sleep, I can do it. But there's too many people who can't do it because they don't know the source. They don't have a source of where they can do it. So when they're underprepared, they're just going there and they're all over the place. And when they do that, it allows Charlie to move the goalpost. They talked about black on black crime, police. That ain't had nothing to do with DEI. That ain't have nothing to do with pilots being, or black pilots being underqualified, and that has absolutely nothing to do with that. Charlie knows he can't stand 10 toes on that point. He knows that, and this is why he has to pivot off that point. This is why we have to inform and train people to stand 10 toes down on the actual argument, on the point. I've seen Steven Crowder do this. I've seen Ben Shapiro do this. I've seen Charlie Kirk do this. When they know they can't stand 10 toes down on a point, they wind up moving. They wind up switching the point. This is what we have to train ourselves and sharpen ourselves to know. First off, I see your play. I see you're trying to switch the point. I see what you're trying to do. Don't let them do it. And then stick to the point and know the facts of the point that you're presenting. When you do that, you're going to beat them every single time. Every single time you're going to beat them. The reason why they're doing this is because they're trying to push this narrative that DEI, and this goes back to what I was saying before with Birth of a Nation and all that. Excuse me. That that DEI, woke, all of these things, all of these terms, they're an attack on white people. It's an attack on white people. And they need things to be a rallying cry, even if it's not true. And they know it's not true. The Ku Klux Klan knew it wasn't true. Griffin knew it wasn't true when he directed Birth of a Nation. They know it's not true, but they need a rallying cry. They need something that will galvanize angry white folks to fight for the cause of white power. That's what they need. They need white power. They need white people to get upset and threatened in their position in society to fight for the cause of white power. That's exactly what they need. All right? That's exactly what they need. They need that. So when they do stuff like that, that is a talking point to say white people are being threatened. And this is the pushback to white people being threatened. Unfortunately, when anytime you ask them directly, okay, what does that mean? You wind up getting a situation just like this. Okay? You wind up getting one of these. She damn near single-handedly destroyed the term woke. And she was advocating for it. She destroyed the term woke by being so foolish and incorrect and incoherent when she was asked for the definition of woke. She damn near completely made it up. And she didn't know what to say on the spot. Because it's one thing, and this is how you beat them. This is why we are intelligent black society and they're not. Because we are not afraid of a debate. We're not afraid of our thoughts and facts or narratives being challenged. We're not. They are. That's why they go on Fox News. That's why they go on all these things, because they're afraid of all that stuff being challenged. We're not afraid of that stuff being challenged. We're not. So this is how we're sharper than them, because the second they ask for a definition, if you ask me for a definition, I'm going to stand 10 toes on it. They can't stand 10 toes because they're lying. So she single-handedly destroyed the term woke, which is why you don't really see it used as frequently anymore. It's still used here or there, but you're not seeing it being used as frequently anymore. The person who destroyed the term DEI, because there is somebody who really did a sincere amount of damage to the term DEI, and that person was Donald Trump. Yep, Donald Trump damn near destroyed the whole concept, the whole term of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Donald Trump messed that up. Donald Trump absolutely messed that up. And you want to know how he messed that up? Let me show you how he messed that up. All right. When there was an airplane crash, and this is kind of similar going back to the whole thing with Ann Coulter, and Ann Coulter ran out there to say, oh, the airplane crash is because of them being black, and they're black, and they're black. So this is an attack because they need to stretch. They're forcing, because it really doesn't exist. There is no attack on white society. So they're forcing these narratives, and they got to stretch to make everything fit that narrative. Going back to Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter had to stretch and reach to fit the narrative that the pilot had crashed the plane because he's black. That's what it was. When the plane or the airplane was falling out of the sky, it was falling apart not because of him. But she pushed that narrative. And Donald Trump did something very similar to that. Donald Trump, when there was a situation where Donald Trump had unfortunately, a couple months ago, where a plane had crashed into a helicopter and a lot of people fatally passed away, Donald Trump was made an announcement, and he said the reason for that was DEI. Listen to this.
Answers, the FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine?
Are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just
Okay. He ran out here. Donald Trump ran out here. The first thing he said was, "Oh, the plane crashed because of DEI." Is because they lowered the standard. I already proved that they did not lower the standard. They lowered the standard, and now they allowed all these black people and they had to include women to kind of give it a little bit more cover. But it's really an attack on black people. They allowed them to come in, and then the second he's asked, because it's supposed to be a code word, but Donald Trump messed up. The second he was asked, okay, well, how do you know it's DEI? This is what Donald Trump had to say.
could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power. You have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened.
He's saying we don't know. After he made the sure statement that he did know. Now he's saying he doesn't.
You have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay?
Because I have common sense. Donald Trump did an incredible amount of damage to the whole term DEI. Because these things are supposed to be a code word. These things are supposed to be something that you say, but you can't say it in a space where it can be questioned. That's the thing. It's supposed to be a rallying cry for reverse racism, DEI, woke, Black Lives Matter, critical race theory, all of these things are supposed to be a rallying cry to say there is an attack on white people. And wink, wink, we all really know what it is. But the point is, never say that in public where it can be scrutinized. Because the second it's scrutinized, just like with Bethany, just like with Donald Trump was all like, hey, I'm because I said so. I got common sense. I said so. I have no proof at all. I said it was. I have no proof. But I said so, so that's what it is. You know? And Coulter did the same thing. How does she know it's DEI? Turns out it ain't got nothing to do with DEI. But they are desperate to push a narrative that there is some attack on white people. There is an attack, and it's just anarchy, and there's white people are being attacked and they're being hunted down, and black privilege is giving white people, it's making us suffer so much. And what happened to America in White Lives Matter, and it's a genocide against them. Honk if White Lives Matter for you. Oh my God, this is just terrible. They're the last stand of America. What they say. It's what they say. And brothers and sisters, that leads us to the situation going back to our brother Carmelo Anthony in the tragic situation that occurred at the high school track meet with him and Austin McCaff. So you guys understand that our brother, and shout out to every single last one of you guys, our brother had his hearing. They had argued that the $1 million bail was too high. And then we had an on-code sister who's the judge, Judge Angelina Tucker. Shout out to Judge Angelina Tucker. Lowered the bond to $250K. After that, our brother posted bail. This is the video clip of that. Okay, come on.
We're up. We're up. We're up. We're up.
Carmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say? Carmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim, to the family of the victim? Why were you armed, sweetheart? Carmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
And it is very good that he is not saying anything. Brother, if I could give you any warning, don't say, and I know you might face, you're only a young man, 17 years old. Dude, don't get online. Don't say nothing on the internet. Stay offline. Stay offline. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing to no reporter. Don't say nothing to don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Now you see this white lady coming. Why were you armed at school? Why were you armed at school? He's doing the smart thing by not saying anything. Don't say nothing. He hasn't said anything since he's been arrested, which is smart. Don't say nothing now. Don't be all, I was trying to, don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do that. And as you can see, this is the Alexander guy. What's his name? Was Dominique Alexander, I think his name is. Dominique Alexander. The dude's holding his hand for whatever weird reason. This man is walking, literally holding his hand. I was wondering, like, why is he holding? He's reached back, holding his hand. This dude is a track star. If he can run, I'm sure he can walk by himself. You don't need to hold his hand. I'm not trying to take away from the moment of victory, because this is a victorious moment right here that this boy is coming home. But okay. So you can see right now that this is very ambulance chaser energy. The same thing Ben Crump was doing. This is the same thing Ben Crump was doing. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to, right now, because he doesn't want to get too far out of the camera. Okay? He doesn't want to get too far from the camera. So he wants to stay within quite literal arm's reach of Carmelo.
How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
Carmelo, do you like to say?
I had to browse.
Okay, he's home. First off, before we continue, I want to thank every single last one of you guys, because we brought him home. We did. With us raising awareness of the situation, of the facts, we all did. Everybody who made content about this brother, we all contribute. All of the people who contributed to his legal fund, every single last one of it. In the chat room, I want for you all to give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause for what you did. We as a unit, as a family, locked in, and we saved this brother. We got this brother home. It's not over. Don't get me wrong. It's not over yet. But we are a step closer to justice. He's home now. Now what we're going to see is the fight's not over yet. The fight's not over yet, because as we can clearly see, I'm almost sure his name is Dom. I know his last name is Alexander. This Alexander guy clearly is too damn close. Clearly the Alexander guy is too close. And I'm going to tell you what the play is. Before we continue with that, and y'all giving yourself a round of applause, y'all deserve it. This is what happens when we lock in and we get on code, okay? It didn't take months. It didn't take all of this stuff. It didn't take no protest. We just said, hey, we need to get this young man home, and we got him home. He's on house arrest. I mean, I guess that was the best. It's not like he's going nowhere. He's not no flight risk. He's going to be good. He is good because of you, because of what we have done. All right. So I am proud of every single last one of you guys. Everybody who's made content about it, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of us together as a family. We locked in and we saved him, or we're a step closer to saving him. All right. Now, let me give a brief breakdown of what the attorney's thing is going to be. Now, clearly, this young man, he was in a very unfortunate situation, very unfortunate, and what happened was tragic. The result of the unfortunate situation was a very tragic result. So he needs justice. Unfortunate, but he needs justice. With Mr. Alexander, what he's going to do is this is going to be his slingshot. Follow me. This is going to be his slingshot into relevancy. Okay? Because prior to this, who knew who this guy was? He claims he got this organization, and he claimed during the thing this was this big organization. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who he was. He's using this situation because he sees the traction. He sees the grassroots is in on it. He sees everybody is talking about it. So what he's going to do is he's going to stay shoulder to shoulder next to Carmelo, even though he's not the family lawyer. Like I was saying before with Ben Crump. Ben Crump was at least the family lawyer, even though we don't like the way Ben Crump moved. He was the family lawyer. This guy isn't. But boy, is he going to be attached at the hip to Carmelo Anthony, get as many photo ops and all of this stuff. And then when the case goes over, he's going to be able to use this as what a term I'm going to use, activist leverage. He's going to use this as leverage to make him relevant and give him credibility. This whole thing is about credibility. That is what it's about. So if he now has credibility, now he's going to use this credibility and he's going to he's going to be like, hey, I'm an activist. I'm a hero. I saved Carmelo. Right? I was right there with Carmelo, our brother Carmelo. I saved him, didn't I? So I have credibility, and he's going to use that credibility, and he's going to pivot that off of the grassroots agenda. So what we have to do is now we see the play. It's very we see it. It's very obvious what that play is. What our responsibility is do not conflate. We still need to support Carmelo, but we also have to make sure that is not done and simultaneously uplifting the platform and profile of Alexander. What we need to do is we need to be setting the standard, and what we need to do is we need to be setting the narrative that Alexander does not and will not have credibility. That's what the whole thing is about, credibility. He's using Carmelo so he can gain some type of clout and credibility. We need to, as of right now, we don't even know what's going to happen going forward. Right now, cut the cord. Cut the cord right now. Ain't no credibility. He's not getting no credibility. He didn't save Carmelo. We did. You did. You did. You saved him, or at least we are saving him. Let me say, we are in the process of saving him. All right. We on the grassroots he's going to come up and do a bunch of photo ops and everything like that. And then he's going to use the credibility from the work of the grassroots. So now he can pivot that to an agenda from the dominant society for the dominant society. We can't allow that to happen. Okay. Can't do it. Cut all credibility off. Be all like, hey man, support Carmelo, free my young brother. He's a bright young man. He's a good young man. It's unfortunate what happened to him, but we're not going to allow anybody who's taking a picture with him and what is essentially to him right now his most desperate time of need. Carmelo has never been in a more vulnerable situation in his entire life, and he has Alexander, which is so unfortunate, trying to take advantage of Carmelo's unfortunate situation. So that's what he's doing. All right. And this goes for anybody we see around him, because what we're seeing is especially going into the next midterms and then going into the next presidential election, we're going to see these people come up and they're going to use certain situations and spring up out of nowhere so they can get some type of credibility. So right now we're in this era of none of the people from the dominant society, none of the people from, and when I say that, I do mean the whole system, but in particular, the Democratic Party has any credibility in the grassroots. They have none. So right now, they're in this mode where they need to find people with credibility. Okay, they realize they sent their best. They sent their best. None of their best has credibility as far as the grassroots are concerned. Tiffany Cross doesn't. Angela Rye doesn't. Roland Martin doesn't. All right. Al Sharpton doesn't. Okay. Who's that other one? DL Hughley doesn't. All right. None of these people have credibility. So what they're doing now is they're saying, we're gonna have to, because we sent they bet they sent their best. They had a whole Black Men Summit. DL Hughley hosted that. Roland Martin did a crazy interview. Al Sharpton did a damn interview. Charlemagne did a damn interview. All of these people, you know what I'm saying? Oprah, you know, Tyler Perry, none of these people have credibility in the grassroots. Even if sometimes there are some people, Obama, that's another good one. Obama doesn't have any credibility. None of these people have credibility. That's the most important thing they need. Like Kendrick Lamar said, you can't fake influence. You can't fake that. We can go all on the whole list, None of them have credibility, even if people like their entertainment. Oh yeah, people still might watch LeBron play basketball, but they don't listen to his politics. There's people who still like Tyler Perry's movies. They're not gonna listen to his politics. There's people who still might listen to Glorilla or Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion or Beyonce or whoever the case is. Or Kelly Rowland. They don't have to listen to their politics because of that. Their entertainment. This is the part. Okay, even Malcolm X was talking about it. Okay, back in the day, their entertainment value does not equal their credibility and their influence in society. This is why he was saying that we shouldn't have entertainers as thought leaders or political leaders and stuff like that, right? We shouldn't. We're not gonna say that because you voted for Kamala or you campaigned for Kamala means you're not entertaining. Yeah. You can probably still play basketball just as well as you could before you endorsed her. You could probably still sing just as well as you could before you endorsed her or dance or whatever. Yeah, you still as great, and you're still as entertaining, but your entertainment value does not equate to influence over Black society politically at all. And we let that be known this election. So now what they've done is they sat back and they was like, oh, okay, what are we going to do? Clearly, we sent our best. Didn't work. Okay? What we need to do is we need to make somebody from scratch. And we got to do it in a distance. Mind you, we have to do it in a distance where it seems as if these people support what we do, but they're really grassroots. They can't be like an elected official and all that. They have to be something. We have to promote another group of people, make another influencer. They need another influencer. All right. So that's where they got this Alexander dude doing. Okay. Who's coming up out the woodworks. He's not a family attorney. Can anybody cite any of the work he's done prior? Can we cite any of the cases that he's followed prior or any of the families that he's helped? Now, it would be one thing if a bunch of families can come out and be all like, oh, man, yeah, he a good dude. He be helping us out. He be back in the community. He be doing this and that. Can't nobody say that about this guy. Can't nobody say that about this guy. They need somebody to start from scratch. because they need influence right now. They're scrambling. Jasmine Crockett is another one. She don't got no influence. None like that. The only people, and let's be honest, the only people who like Jasmine are the people who constantly like ghetto stuff. It's entertaining to them. And they don't feel the need of professional. They don't like class and professionalism. Let's be honest. That's the truth. That's the truth. Come on now. That's the truth. The people who be vouching for Jasmine, they don't like decorum. They don't. And they like Jasmine because she's in a place where people should be carrying themselves with decorum, but she's not. So they like the idea of somebody getting out there and being loud and obnoxious like they would like to be. So a lot of these people, unfortunately, most of them hood rats, are living vicariously through Jasmine. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Now, going to, a lot of people, these people don't have influence. And one of the issues, one of the good things that we have done through as foundational Black Americans, delineating, okay? And there's people talking about, I like foundational Black American, and I like Sulan, that's another one, ADOS, all of that, Friedman. I don't argue over semantics, even though you guys already know my opinion. FBA is the most solid term for the lineage. It's not even really arguable that FBA is the most solid term. And by doing that, we have put a monkey wrench in their plan. Because now what they're doing is, or what they were able to do, is now everybody is doing background checks. So now when we look at Obama, we can be all like, oh, well, Obama's not FBA. So red flag right there anyway. So really, before these people even gain momentum, since we're doing the background check, can y'all put wrenches in the chat room? Let's put a bunch of wrenches in the chat room. Since we're doing the background check, we're not even allowing these people to gain momentum and then therefore influence in society. So we're looking at Obama, be all like, Obama, you're not one of us. You're not FBA. We're looking at Kamala. We're like, Kamala, you're not one of us. You're not FBA. Okay, you're not FBA. So we already have an eye on you. You're already, first off, everybody's getting supervised, but we already have an eye on you and we see the plan. So we're not even allowing you to get that far. I want you guys to understand something. Okay, I want you guys to understand. We essentially defeated Kamala the second she joined the race. Do you get that? Let's do a little rewind. We defeated her the second she got in the race. Because the second she got in the race, we all said, first off, I was the first one to say it. I think I was the only one. I ain't seen nobody else say it. But I know I was the first one to say it because it was going on. I said all of that win with Black women thing that they had, like, oh my God, 44,000 Black women joined the Zoom to donate and to talk about. I said that is cap. I said no. Excuse allergies, you know what I'm saying? It's allergy season. So excuse me. I said cap. I said cap. I said no. I said Black women don't resonate with Kamala like that. Black men don't resonate with Kamala like that because she's not Black. And the second we said that, it completely stopped her from gaining the momentum that she needed. Her whole campaign was her essentially trying to start the run. She couldn't even start the run because we immediately, the second she came up, somebody said Jason Black said, if Jason Black said it, okay. But I mean, clearly it was obvious. It was obvious. The second she started the run, we were putting barriers there. Oh, you're not Black, you're not Black, you're not Black. She could never even gain any momentum. And because she couldn't even gain any momentum, there was nothing, she couldn't rely on the black vote because she doesn't have any momentum. We stopped the momentum. And we was like, hey, you're not black. And what about this whole reparations thing where you said no? That completely stopped her momentum. We defeated her campaign the secondest, really before. To be honest, before, because we always kept circulating that quote of reparations where she said, no, nothing for black people. No. When she said that throughout the years of the Biden administration, we kept circulating that and we kept playing that over and over again. And that stuck in the minds of people. Because that stuck in the mind, the second she ran, it was full speed ahead for us. We stopped that the second it started. She really never had a shot. All of the, oh my God, black people love her, that was artificial. That was fake. That was made up to make people believe that black people loved her more than black people did. Clearly, black people didn't love her. We were saying that from the beginning because we've been doing the paperwork and we keep the receipts. That's the important part. We keep the receipts on them. Okay? So that completely destroyed her campaign. Okay? Obama's legacy has been ruined because he stuck his neck out there. He threw everything in the kitchen sink to get her elected and couldn't do it. I mean, it was desperate. They was paying Roland Martin. It was sad. It was absolutely sad. So we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing here. All right. Now, back onto the situation with our good brother, Carmelo. Carmelo being free in this situation sparked an incredible amount of rage online. They was out there screaming, hooping, and hollering, talking about, oh my God, this is an attack on white people. I want you guys to see some of the things that they were saying. Let's look at some of the things that they were saying. All right. These are just some of the quotes right here. All right. This one. It says ATP, which means at this point, white people need to be armed and ready to defend themselves. Nobody is coming to save us. Your white friends won't step in. Police will show up before it's too late. Before it's too late. Okay. I think you mean after, but all right. The rule of law will not save you. Pray to God and be ready to fight when demons try to harm onto you. Oh my God. And this goes back to what the KKK was preaching, that there is some attack on white people and white people are going to suffer and white people need to stand up and rally behind white survival. This is what the KKK was preaching. Let's go to another one. Oh, look at this one. Tons of black people don't even believe Carmelo was acting in self-defense when he stabbed Metcalf. They're just justifying their people's action because they are in opposition to white people. This is war, and it's a battle won in their minds. Oh, Lord, it's war. It's war. They're calling this war. They're calling Carmelo is not, it's not even he's been acquitted. He got bail. He got bail. And they're like, this is war. This is an attack on white people. Oh, Lord, they're not done. Oh, Lord, here we go. Come on, we got more. The race war should have started when OJ was acquitted in the 90s, but boomers were too cowardly to admit what was happening. Now this is the S-hole country that we have to live in. Wow. The race war should have started when OJ was acquitted. I want y'all to see what they're saying. I want you to see what they're saying. this is an attack on, this is a race war. I can't believe this. This white lives matter. Don't white lives matter to anybody anymore? What is going on? We're being genocided. We're being attacked. I can't believe we can't just attack people and they can't defend themselves. This is ridiculous. I'm telling you guys, they were out here crying. I can't believe it. Look at this one. Here's another one. Black on white crime is the biggest threat in America. Blacks are 6 times more likely to attack whites than vice versa. Blacks are, per capita, the race most likely to commit hate crimes. The murder of whites like Austin McCaff by blacks like Carmelo Anthony is not rare. Hashtag Civil War. Hashtag USA. I'm telling you, Lord, they are losing their minds. The slightest little bit, the sight of justice. He ain't even been acquitted yet. He just posted bail. And they're like, this is a war. Arm yourselves, defend yourselves, kiss your children before you leave the house because you don't know if you're coming back. This is terrible. I can't believe America's betraying white people like this. Crying. And all of this, and I'm going to tell you, because the DI thing didn't stick, the woke thing didn't stick, the critical race theory didn't stick. What's going to happen now is you're going to have people who are going to use this situation and they're going to be all like, do you see this? Do you see how the blacks are acting? They just want to attack white people for no reason. We never did anything bad to them ever, one time. We got to defend ourselves. We have to defend ourselves from them. I mean, come on. This is what they're doing. They're going to be out here. I can guarantee you. I already see it coming. They're going to be out here. White lives matter. Austin was good. I can't believe he was just randomly attacked after he attacked somebody. This doesn't even make sense. The blacks are coming to get us all. They're going to be out there screaming, hooping, and hollering where there has never been any justice for the white man in this country. They're going to be out here doing that. Because this is now their opportunity. They're going to take this as an opportunity to push the reverse racism narrative. That's what I can guarantee you that's what they're going to do. Because that's what they're already doing. They're already doing that. They're taking this as an opportunity to push this reverse racism narrative. This narrative that white survival and prosperity in life is threatened by black people. Oh my God. How could you defend yourself? What is this world and this country coming to? That's what they're going to take it as. As 100% what they're going to take this as. And to be honest, that's good. That's good. That's good. Because they not about all this race war thing they've been saying. They ain't ready to pop nothing off. They ain't ready to do nothing. They not ready. But this is going to be the next rallying cry. So now, and why I say it's good, why I say this is good, because in situations like this, similar to situations like this, also similar to situations like this, when situations like these happen, it allows us to take needed time and an opportunity to clear out some of the infiltrators and interlopers and tethers that are among us. That's what it allows us to do. So we use these situations as an opportunity to do that. Because what's going to happen is there's going to be people who've been cool with us for a minute, and then when this stuff happens, they're going to be all like, well, I don't know if I can really say it was a little excessive. They're going to start telling on themselves, and that is a great thing. We always have to welcome when people tell on themselves, Never stop anybody from telling on themselves. You always welcome someone telling on themselves. When they want to tell on themselves, let them do so. A lot of people told on themselves when it came to the situation of Trayvon Martin. A lot of people told on themselves when it came to the situation of Jordan Neely. A lot of people told on themselves when it came to the situation of Kyle Rittenhouse. A lot of people are telling on themselves now when it comes to the situation of Carmelo Anthony. A lot of people are doing that. And it is good. It is absolutely good. It is wonderful. It's wonderful. Let them tell on themselves. Let us circle the wagon, because we constantly need to do that. Let us have this opportunity to see who is on code and who is not on code. Let us have this opportunity to take this beautiful opportunity as we are saving this young brother, as we're defending this young brother as the community should, being on code and standing up for justice as the community should. As we are doing that, we are also simultaneously circling the wagons and finding out the play of the dominant society, and also finding out, which is to me the most important thing, who among us is not really on code. I'm gonna be honest, because I'm not gonna say no names. I'm not going to say any names, but I have seen signs of situations like this occurring, okay? Situations like these occurring, and you have people who are in our circles, they're in our mixed. And then when it comes up, they start defending. They be all like, well, you got to understand, Kyle Rittenhouse did think that he was in danger, though. Kyle Rittenhouse did think he was in danger. Well, you got to understand, Daniel Penny did think that, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh. Well, Carmelo, I guess, but Carmelo, why didn't Carmelo even bring a knife in the first place? Carmelo shouldn't have bought a knife in the first place. And I'm seeing people who would be among us and engaging in our conversations and participating and stuff like that. And when situations come up where it's time for people to show where they really stand, these people actually choose the latter. Don't complain about it. Accept it for what it is. But now we know who we need to keep moving forward with, and now we know who we need to let go. And everybody, now you know who you need to let go. Now you know who you need to drop off, fall back on. Because sometimes you need to fall back on certain people. This is a perfect opportunity for that. Beautiful. Let me get to the super chats real quick. Shout out to my brother. Tell it like it is. He says, these people get a small taste of what we've been enduring here for over 400 years, and look out, the sky is falling. Oh yeah, and thank you for that. It's a war. This is a race war. This is a civil war. We should have started it when, oh my God, we're being just defend yourself, family. Just defend yourself, because this is a race war. Now, when they say stuff like this, what I see as a race war, if we're going to talk about race wars, I see this as a race war. Dylan Roof going into a church, massacring the black folk in the church. That's a race war. Show me, if y'all want to complain about a race war and there's an attack on your people and all of this stuff, show me the black version, in particular FBA version of Dylan Roof. Show me the black Dylan Roof. Show me the black Peyton Gendron. Show me the black Ryan Palmetter. Show me the black versions of these people. Show me the black versions of any of those people. Dare I call them people? Show me the black versions. And we got all of this, and then they want to talk about this race war because he got, yeah, show me the black version of that. My brother Tom says, clear out the riffraff. Yeah. Yeah, this is good. This is good. We always need these opportunities. We always need these moments. We always seize this stuff to clear out the riffraff. We always use that stuff, all right? Always, all the time. So when it comes to it, what they're going to be doing, they're going to be hooping and hollering. They're going to be screaming. They're going to be all like, how could he get out? This is not fair. This is reverse racism. And they're going to like to use this as an opportunity and a showcase of reverse racism, because they're going to be all like, the judge, where's the picture of the judge? Our good beloved sister judge who was on code in this situation. Judge Angela Tucker. Judge Angela Tucker, what they're saying online, oh, she's Black Lives Matter. This is a Black Lives Matter judge. So now they're going to start resurfacing this is Black Lives Matter. This is Black Lives Matter, guys, and this is black people, and they're just gonna attack us and do everything they want to to us. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This is what they're gonna be doing. This is what they're gonna be saying. So this is their new opportunity to talk about reverse racism. They're not different from their ancestors, not really. Every single time they have an opportunity for justice, every single time there is justice in society, they take that as an attack on them, as a genocide of them. But it doesn't matter how they take it. It doesn't matter what they think. We're coming for justice. We're coming for reparations. We're coming for our check. We're coming to dismantle the system of white supremacy, whether they like it or not. They don't have to. They don't have to. They don't have to like the fact that we're taking justice and seizing justice. They don't have to like that. They're not going to. But you know what? You know what the best part about that is that we don't care if they do. It's the best part. We don't care. We don't care if they like it or not. We don't care. Because we're coming to do it anyway. The situation is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. They're using tragic situations to push their narrative. They're using that. And Coulter. Yeah, I can guarantee you, Ann, I guarantee you that you mocking the death of a Navy SEAL and you being completely dead wrong the way you were, oh, that's coming back to bite you. Oh, that won't age well. I promise you it won't. I guarantee you it won't. I promise you that will not age well. Shout out to you. Shout out to Cyberdime for the Cash App. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate every single last one of y'all for being here. Like I said, they're going to keep pushing this narrative of reverse racism. This is the same thing the narrative of the Klan said. There's an attack on Whitey. And America's not going to do it, so we got to take it into our own hands. It's an attack on Whitey, and they're going to use the unfortunate situation of our brother Carmelo, and they're going to say that this is an attack on Whitey. So we already know the play. We already know. And we already know how to debunk that. We already know how to pivot that. We already know how to swerve away from that. We already know that. Now, with that being said, what we need to do is stand 10 toes on what we're doing. What we are doing, stand on that. Okay? Stand on that 100% because it's working. What we are doing is working. And this is why they're in a flux. This is why they're so afraid. This is why they're terrified right now. Because what we are doing is working. What we are doing is we're learning. It took us a minute. It took us too long. But we're learning now. And the rate that we're growing, the rate that the community is growing when it comes to self-empowerment, when it comes to self-knowledge, knowledge of self, and the agenda and being on code, it is too much for them to handle. They can't handle it. They can't do it. This is why she lost the election, because they can't do it. They can't handle the rate of the black people who are becoming on code. They can't handle that. They don't know what to do. That's where they're making up activists all of a sudden. They're spending this money on Roland Martin, and Roland Martin can't get them any influence. They're sitting up there taking down GoFundMe pages of Carmelo and taking these pages down. He still got out because we still stayed on code. We stayed 10 toes down, and we will stay 10 toes down on the situation. They're not ready for the revolution of justice. They're not ready for it, but it's coming regardless. It's coming. It doesn't matter if they're ready for it. It doesn't matter if they want it. It doesn't matter if they reject it or not, because we know they will, but we will still continue to do it. We will still continue to fight on. We are getting more victories as we go along. I want to be very abundantly honest. And a lot of people talking about the tariffs and all of that stuff and, you know, what's going on with that. I personally am still, no matter what's going on with us and China and all that stuff, I'm glad that Kamala Harris did not win. I'm so very glad. I am so very glad. I'm so glad. I'm glad, because that's the lesson that you all needed to learn for years now. Y'all should have learned that from the damn Obama era, but y'all didn't. Y'all hard-headed, y'all thick-headed tethers. Y'all just don't learn, but we're going to have to show you guys. We showed you guys, and now you guys are starting to get the picture a little bit. You're starting to get the picture a little bit, but we're not done yet. We're not done yet, all right? Because she lost because of us. Carmelo's out because of us. Reparations is now being talked about. Gavin Newsom is now hiding. Gavin Newsom don't know what to do. He's losing because of us. Brandon Johnson can't go nowhere after Chicago. Brandon Johnson is radioactive because of us. I'm the one. I want to, you know what I'm saying. We know Brandon don't like me. I'm just keeping it, Sometimes you got to pat yourself on the back. Brandon don't like me. Brandon don't like y'all. Brandon don't like us. Neither does Roland Martin. Neither does Kamala Harris. Neither does Obama. Neither does Gavin Newsom. Neither does none of these tethers. Neither does with D.L. Hughley. Neither does Jasmine Crockett. Neither does Cory Booker. Do I need to go on? Do I need to go on? I don't think so, because we all get the point right now. We are winning right now. I want us to take a moment and rejoice in the victory of our brother coming home, as he should have, even though he never should have been arrested, because this was an unfortunate situation, but it was self-defense. Self-defense in most cases are unfortunate. In a case where somebody passes away, in the case of self-defense, especially if they're in high, it is unfortunate. It's almost always unfortunate. But that does not mean that our brother has to be victimized and he has to suffer the consequences of Austin's actions. He shouldn't. He shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of trying to free himself from being attacked by Austin and his brother. He shouldn't. He shouldn't. And he's not. And I want to give another shout out again to the judge who let him go. I want to give another shout out to our sister right here, Judge Angelina Tucker. Shout out to Judge Angelina Tucker for standing on business, for helping this young man out. Shout out to her. Shout out to her. She deserves her props. Shout out to her. And you got a whole bunch of angry white supremacists out online, and they sitting up there like, oh, this is a Black Lives Matter judge. Look at her, Black Lives Matter. I can't believe this is they're calling her DEI. This is a DEI woke judge who believes in critical race theory. I can't believe, yeah. See, that's the problem. Ooh, that's the problem. The problem is when the community gets on code, because it all starts with the grassroots. The roots is every tree, every plant starts with the roots. Follow me. We all start with the roots. And when the roots in the culture starts getting more on code, everything else starts to fall in line. Everything else will start falling in line, because us as the community, as the grassroots, are so on code, it's starting to spread. It's starting to become contagious in a great way. Now because they're on code. Now we got judges who are on code. And with that, then comes lawyers, then comes everybody else. Oh, yeah, now it's starting to really care. See, this is what they're afraid of. They don't necessarily care if people out there protesting, getting mad, all that stuff. Oh, no. But see, when a community is so empowered that we start to have influence over society, that's the part where, I don't like this. Y'all are on code so much to the point where y'all getting the judge on code. Oh, no. This is bad news. It's great for us. Oh, it's great for us. Oh, yes. Oh, it's bad for them. No, it's bad. It's bad. Oh, it's bad. Give yourself another round of applause. In the chat room, I want y'all to give yourself another round of applause. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Because a lot of us have donated to the pages, or the page, my bad. Donated to the page. A lot of us have shared this content, watched the content. A lot of us were a part of the debates and things to keep the narrative out that this is an innocent young man, because nobody else was doing it. Everybody else was saying, throw him away, throw the key away, lock him up and throw away the key, give him capital. Remember that? There was some people talking about capital. I think he deserved capital punishment. He deserved more than just life in prison. He deserved capital punishment. And now he home. Now he's home. So thank you all. Thank you all for that. Got, allergy season. So, sinuses and stuff. So I'm going to get off here. I will see you guys later on this week. I appreciate every single last one of y'all. I do. I appreciate y'all. Foundational Black Americans are taking victories. Foundational Black Americans are having celebrating victory laps right now. The work's not done. So we can't get off the field yet. But this is a touchdown. We ain't off the field. It's not like this is the damn Super Bowl trophy as of yet. But this is damn sure a touchdown. We damn sure got points on the board. All right. Appreciate every single last one of y'all. For the ones who say that they don't get the notifications, y'all know they be hating. So y'all should follow me on my various social media platforms to make sure that y'all get y'all notifications. All right. To make sure of that. All right. So the links to that is in the description. Also, I need you guys. I appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. All right. Mainly hit that like button and that subscribe button. All right. Do that for me, please. I would appreciate it. I appreciate it greatly. Now, with that being said, Black first to every single last one of you all. I'm proud of you all. Thank you all for watching, and you all stay blessed.